Are you worried that the jaw harp can damage your teeth? Well, your worry is completely logical because this is a piece of metal that you are putting inside your mouth and you're flicking this reed that's going in between your teeth. So yes, there are some risks associated with the jaw harp. Not only can it damage your teeth, but it can also even cut your lip or just pinch your lip at the very least. Fortunately, there are some techniques that you can do to make sure that you are playing the jaw harp safely and so that you can enjoy this amazing instrument. And I'm going to be teaching you about that today. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. This channel is all about learning about different instruments. I'm going to be doing more about jaw harps and about several other instruments. So if you're interested in learning about music and instruments, this is the channel for you. So first off, when you see someone play the jaw harp, you might have the misconception that they're biting the instrument as they're playing. This is incorrect. If you bite the instrument, you're actually setting yourself up for potential tooth damage because that reed, it's passing in between your teeth, and that's just not the proximity that it should be. It's too close to your teeth. And so you actually are pressing the jaw harp against your teeth like so, and the reed passes in between. So that's the first thing, is to make sure you're pressing the jaw harp against your teeth and you're not biting on it. The second thing is to ensure that you have the correct striking direction. This is probably one of the number one ways that you can actually hurt yourself, is if you're striking the jaw harp in the wrong direction. What I mean by that, I can say that, I also fell into this trap when I first started playing. I didn't have a teacher. I just picked it up and I thought, okay, I flick this thing. So I pushed the jaw harp striker that way. Well, if you think about it, you're pushing this piece of metal and it's acting like a spring. And so all that energy is pent up. When you let go, it's going to go directly towards your face, potentially striking your tooth, potentially striking your lip, or if you're lucky, it does nothing at all and goes in between your teeth. And so that's fine. To avoid that problem, you can push the striker in the opposite direction. So if you push it towards you, yes, it is traveling in between your teeth, but all that energy is being released outwards. And so that prevents issues. And you see other people play, you might see, people going both directions, and those are advanced techniques. And I suggest that you table those until you're very comfortable, you've got the mouth shape right, and you have some practice under your belt before you try that. So not only is the direction important, but how hard you strike the reed is also important. Especially on YouTube, you'll see some, and it's very theatrical and looks really cool. You see, people using their whole arm to play, and it looks great, but really all you need is very little pressure to play this instrument. That's pretty much all you need. You don't need to wham the instrument, and if you are finding yourself pushing too hard against the striker, it may be a sign that there's something wrong with your mouth shape or your jaw harp. So if you find that, make sure you tone it down and look for a solution to that problem before you hurt yourself. Another important thing is your teeth pressure. So when you're basically pushing this piece of metal against your teeth, and the amount of pressure is very important, and it takes some practice to get the right amount. When you first start, you might be paranoid, like I tend to be, and you're pushing it too hard against your teeth, and that can actually cause your jaw to be sore. It's uncomfortable to play. But if you don't have enough pressure, you can lead to something like this. I don't even like to demonstrate that. I shouldn't have, probably. But you can hear that buzzing, and that's because the jaw harp is rattling against my teeth. So you need to have enough pressure so that when you play, there's none of that buzzing, and all the energy is being transferred to your skull and back properly without any issues. So you might be concerned about playing the jaw harp if you have a weakness in your teeth. And I happen to have a weakness. This tooth is partially false, and it's chipped a few times over the years. And I haven't had an issue yet, but it's definitely a concern of mine. So you may have to adjust your playing to accommodate for any weakness in your teeth. And if you have serious problems, you might have to approach a different instrument, and I'll show you how you can approach that in a second. But you might have to also accommodate by finding the right type of jaw harp. I'll share you an example. So this is the Glazerin Lighthouse. I love the sound of this instrument. It's a bass harp, and it just sounds so cool. but I know that I actually can't play this instrument for extended periods of time. My jaw becomes sore first, so I'm not used to it. But also, it's a much stiffer reed. It's a much bigger piece of metal. There's a lot more mass, and so there's more risk for me if I'm playing. And so I restrict my playing for this bass harp for only a limited time every day, just to avoid that. So you might have to accommodate in similar ways if you have some weakness in your teeth. And there's no problem with that. There's tons of different jaw harps, and there's all different advantages. Like the one I was holding before, this has a very thin and flexible reed, and it's perfect for beginners because if it does strike your teeth or your lips, there's no harm done. But for a bigger harp with a stiffer reed, there might be some more implications there. So definitely recommend to start with a more flexible reed when you get started. And when I say flexible reed, like this, this metal comes in different thicknesses and lengths, and so you want to make sure that you find a reed of the jaw harp that is more accommodating to a beginner or to those who have a weakness in your teeth. So even if you're looking for a beginner jaw harp, this is a common harp. This is the harp I had when I first started playing. And even this one, this is a very thick, I mean, it's not terribly thick reed, but it is more significant than this gold one I was just playing. And even then, like this is enough to cause some damage. So just be careful and make sure you find a harp that has a flexible reed so you can avoid that problem. There is another alternative. If you are having issues or if you have weakness in your teeth and you find it uncomfortable playing, this is called a Dan Moy, and it is not quite the same technology, but it's very similar in principle and sound. You basically hold it similar to a jaw harp. You press it against your face and you put your lips over the instrument. So very similar sound to the jaw harp. It has its own distinct sound for sure. But if you are having problems with your teeth, this is an excellent option. Now it has its own dangers. Like this little edge right here is very sharp, so you got to make sure that your lips do not collapse over the instrument and therefore cut your lips. All right, so I'm talking about lips a little bit more because, yeah, they're a part of your face too, and you don't want to cut your lips. It's unpleasant. It's not fun. But there are some techniques that you can avoid that. I find myself when I'm playing that the harp migrates, so I'm covering basically almost my entire mouth. And the closer I get to this edge of my mouth, the more likely, and this has happened to me, where my lip gets caught in between these two and it pinches and it's not fun. So make sure that you try and keep, there's a significant gap on this corner of the mouth. So there's room for the sound to escape. The tendency arises because you may find that you can get some more volume. And so the smarter thing to do is to make sure to keep your harp stationary and find a correct position. And I find that if my teeth are sore, that if I adjust my position of the jaw harp, that I can sometimes mitigate some of those issues. So you can play in the direct center, or you can play kind of like 3/4 of the way. Just be more careful when you get to the 80 to 90% where you can actually snag your lip and pinch it. And lastly, your lip shape is important. Your lips are essential because they are what form the sound. This is without my lips participating. You basically can't hear anything. The lips surround the inner frame of the instrument and cause that resonation. But if your lips are collapsing, ow. See, I'm demonstrating this for you guys because I love you. Because, I just pinched my lip just to show you what not to do. If your lips are collapsing over the jaw harp, that's what can cause issues. So be mindful as you play that your lips are in the correct space. Now, you're gonna mess up. It's kind of a tricky instrument to get the hang of. So again, I recommend getting a proper jaw harp that has a flexible reed that is friendly to beginners. so that you can avoid some of these issues, because it's an awesome instrument and it's worth learning. It's also worth taking some time to find the right instrument for you. If you don't know how to play the Jaw Harp, you may be interested. I made a video. Make sure to check it out. It goes over several of what we've covered today of how to hold the instrument, but I also show you how to make the different sounds. So make sure you check that out if you're interested in learning the Jaw Harp. Also, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be sharing a lot of videos like this. I almost forgot. If you have any more tips on how to avoid damaging your teeth, or maybe you've experienced that, make sure and leave a comment below. We all would benefit from learning how we can improve our technique to avoid teeth damage. Thanks for watching.